Hello, hi everyone. Can you hear my voice all right? Is my voice clear? If you can hear, you can unmute, respond, or maybe raise up your thumb. Is my voice all
Yes,
right?
sir, I can
Okay.
hear you, sir.
All right, great, great. All right. So really nice to see everyone here. All right. So I hope this past week has been very exciting to you, just as it has for me. Okay. So maybe what we'll do is we'll do a bit of sharing of the wins, progress of the last week. Okay. And we're going to try a little bit different this time to just to make sure everybody has a chance to share. Okay. So what we're going to do is to basically break everyone into small groups, okay, of three. And you can share about what is your win progress from past week. We have a very special format, which is we don't want this to take too long. So everybody can share just for 1 minute. Okay, and I'm going to rotate, to let you know through message. You can share anything that's at school, work related, life, anything. Okay, and then be careful and note that afterwards we'll come back to the main group, and you can share either your own win or the win of your partner. All right. Okay. So, all right. So this should be fun. And if you are in a room where nobody speaks, or you can leave and join back to the main room, and we can also do some shares here. All right. Okay. So yeah, enjoy. And this is going to be fun. Okay. Just one thing, and less than 1 minute. Okay. So I'm also going to be testing out how to do, I guess, these rooms, so breakout rooms. Okay, so we have about 11 people, so probably we'll have 3 rooms. Okay, 3 rooms. All right, sorry, 4 rooms. All right. All right. So yeah, so as you can see, it's already started. So please join to reach room, and I'll message you to change to the next person. Okay, everybody has 1 minute. Okay, just go ahead and join. Okay, please join to your respective room. All right. So all right. So for those who just joined, we are doing a share. Okay, of the recent wins. Um, Anyone here would like to share of this past week? Okay, right now you're in the big room. Okay, so I mean, a win can be anything that you have learned, that you have progress, that you feel great about this past week. Okay, so anyone would like to share? It can be life or work related. All right, so well, maybe I'll pick someone. Deepak, can we share? Deepak, are you able to share? Okay, so uh, Sid, Siddharth, would you like to share what's your win? right. So do take the chance to share. All right. This is, I mean, this is what's called a positive focus. Okay. So it's, I'm also going to be share why we're doing this. It's because, you know, we all have a, human psyche. You probably know that. And regardless of how your week has been, it could be a busy one. It could be, a fun one. Or you may have hit some of your goals, you may not. But regardless of what happens, actually, there's always something positive. Okay. Oh, Rohini. All right, great. Would you like to share what has
So am
been?
I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Yeah, go ahead.
Uh,
What has been your win,
okay,
please?
when so I got into like a small accident during the beginning of the week, nothing major, but still I wanted something consistent happening in my life. So that has been me working on the modules. Still, me getting injured, me being very busy with academics, I still focused and tried to complete my week 2, and now I'm on my week 3. So that's something right now keeps me going. So yeah, that's
Okay,
it,
okay,
sir.
all right. So your seems like your positive focus has been, doing participating in the course and then keep it continue. Is that right? Did I hear that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, all right, great. All right, thanks for sharing. All right. Okay. So I guess anyone else would like to share? And by the way, okay, so I suppose you guys have all joined back to the main group. So hopefully you have shared with your, roommates about your, something, a win, a progress of last week. So anyone would like to volunteer to share what you have done this past week? That's you feel great. Or you might heard your, your roommate from the channel that has mentioned something great you'd like to share for him or her. So Rohini just shared that she has been continuing the course studying, which is giving her a positive focus. Anyone else would like to share? You can raise your hand or you can unmute yourself. All right. Part of the celebration, this is also to celebrate the wins. And this is actually super important to remember that, okay? Because we all have ups and downs in life. But if you can look at the positive things, what you pay attention to actually grows. Okay, you're going to be able to see more and more of the positive things and also the good stuff. And that's going to add energy and also momentum to whatever you're doing. Okay, both life and work. All right. So this is why we like to start with a positive focus of sharing wins. I'll share one win on my end. Okay, which is our family actually just we sold our house and actually bought a new one. Okay, for my parents. And this just today we move everything, all the rest of the stuff, to the new place. Okay, so which has been a project of several months. Okay, and so this is called closure. Okay, as we're actually, and this is actually one of the last week of this month of January as well. So if you have something, that you started earlier, either this week, this month, but you're actually closing it up, having a closure to things. This is actually very good and super important energy-wise. Okay, because whenever we are starting something and we close something, that completes a cycle. And you're able to take your learning, your gains, your knowledge or experience to the next level or to the next month or to the next task. Okay, so having closure is also very helpful and important. All right. So anyone else would like to share? And I like to emphasize this is a interactive session. Okay, you will get the best and learn the most if you participate and interact. All right. All right. Okay, so maybe one more. Anyone would like to share? or you can share someone else's answer. That's fine too, if you have heard some great answers. Okay, all right. So I guess you guys, maybe some are not, you can type as well. Okay, if it's not, not unable to speak. All right, so let's start with today's coaching session. And okay, so this week actually we have entered into the third week of our materials, which is about the building your funding team. And this is actually super important. Now, recall that we have already gone through the, recall that the first week is about deciding, whether you want to do a startup or not, right? Try to decide, make the decision. Some of you might have already decided. Some of you maybe are still thinking, but doesn't matter, okay? Because regardless whether you do this or not, the concepts you learned here likely will carry you to, to your professional job, to your career, to your life, okay? And second week, we talk about evaluating startup ideas, right? The ideas is the thing that you like to work on as a project, as something you want to bring to life about. Okay, something that excites you, something like aligns with your purpose, your mission, your goal, or what you like to do. So how do you find and filter ideas? Now, if you haven't done the modules, don't worry. Okay, you can always go back. It's recorded. We also have releases the mastermind coaching session recording from the first couple of weeks. Okay, so it's live there now. You can go and check and watch it. Okay, so just to catch up. Now, the third week, this week is actually about building your funding team. Okay, having teammates. Now, I think the first thing that has to be explained is that why do you want to have a teammate? Can you just do it by yourself on your own, right? Now, I think a lot of us may have come from, I don't know, you guys are, educated in India, right? I'm actually educated in Taiwan and also US. I was spending my 5 years in the US for my secondary school. But a lot of our training or education traditionally is about individual, effort, individual achievement. Okay, it's about, you go to a test, you take the test, you have a test score, right? If you collaborate with other students, it's called cheating, right? But in real life, in business, okay, collaborations with other people is extremely important and essential. Although you might be very talented and you could be the math genius, you could be the Olympian of your school, right? And you're very smart. But even if you are really unique and good at something, most likely you are bad at a lot of other things. Okay, and Dan Sullivan likes to say that that's our unique ability. We all have certain things, certain traits that we're extremely good at, we enjoy, right? We're an expert at, but you probably cannot be good at everything, so likely there are shortcomings of you. However, if you can partner up with people who are actually really great at those aspects that you're lacking, and you have the same goal, you have the same value, but you have complementary set of skills, that's actually when magic happens. So like Apple Computer, right? Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Job was the vision guy, but Wozniak is what's called the integrator. Okay, he actually implement things. He's the make it real person. So another way to look at this is you have the typical two roles is you have the vision guy, who's the make it up person who has the idea, the business vision, but you also have the make it real person, which is called the integrator, who actually build things, make things happen. All right. So this is also why, before you start this, we ask you to do the assessment to evaluate whether you are a visionary or an integrator. Okay, if you still recall that, so that you can better know which role you might want to play if you want to enter into a startup team, a startup relation with other people. Okay, all right. So I guess the first question today, okay, I'd like to ask is, do you already have a co-founder, business partner? Okay. And what personal qualities do you value the most? Okay. So this is a question worth thinking about. Now, yeah, before answering this question, I also like to emphasize why you want to find a partner. Besides skills, the other thing is startup, okay, especially if you are looking for, let's say, a unicorn. It's actually a journey of, a long time. Uh, you might have heard of stories of instant overnight success, but actually, in reality, most of the quote unquote overnight success you heard in the media, you see in the media, they are overnight success 10 years in the making. Okay, if you really dig into it, you're going to see that there's a lot of effort, sweats, that has gone before the shoot up of the results. Okay, like Facebook, Facebook actually became a $1 billion, I think, company just within 3 or 4 years. However, before that, Mark Zuckerberg spent a lot of time, observing about human interactions. He was really extremely interested into the social behavior of people, right? He even studied Greek mythology in his undergrad years. And before Facebook, he actually, I think, built over, I forgot, it was over a dozen or so prototypes or apps that are similar in nature and function. Okay. So the quote unquote overnight success that you see actually often isn't really overnight. It's built out over a long period of time. And during that long period of time, there's ups and downs. So if you are just a single person, you may get frustrated, you may get, feel setback, you might want to give up. But if you actually have a partner, a co-founder, then you can, help each other, cheer each other up. Okay, so that's another reason why you might want to have a partner. So today's first question is, do you already have a co-founder and business partner or, a work partner, a good buddy? What personal qualities do you value the most? Okay, so I'll give everyone 90 seconds to answer this question. Okay, just list down the qualities. If you have one, you can list that. If you don't have one, you can also list what are the desirable traits and qualities, for your potential partner. All right, so let's start, 90 seconds.
Sir, I would like to say trust first quality and expect.
All right, 10 more seconds. Uh, did you have a, okay, that's all right. Let's stop. All right, okay, so time's up. Okay. So there was a question, right? Who was it? Was there a question you want to ask? Okay, all right. If you have a question, you can also, mute yourself, raise your hand, or, type it in the chat, okay, if you like. All right. So let's go to the, I guess, our second question. Okay, so the second part is actually about co-founder mistakes. Okay. And by the way, these are all, the question I'm asking you to do are actually selected from this week's modules. Okay, I selected a subset of them. So to get the full exposure, definitely watch, all the modules and also answer the questions. So there's common what's called co-founder mistakes. Okay, that actually will kill your company and how to avoid them. So, for example, the one very common one, and the one I made as well, is that you look for only skills. For example, if you're a developer, you might want to look for someone who's more business savvy, can sell things. Likewise, if you're an idea person, you might want to find a developer to build the product, right? Or just solution for you. But that is only looking at skills, okay? But personality, values, these soft things actually are sometimes a lot more important than skills. The reason is that skills is something that if you are dedicated, if you have the motivation, you can learn and improve. Okay, although you might have a natural inclination, but most skills actually are learnable. Even the ones that you may not have them or see them as difficult, like technical skills, developments, or marketing, sales, things like that. You can actually acquire skills, over time, over practice. But personality, value systems, these things are actually harder and they are actually also more innate to people, right? Although it's not to say, you cannot change these. Actually, people do change personality over time. Okay, that happens. And, especially if there's dramatic events, for example. But, another thing is that sometimes there's no right or wrong about certain personal traits. It's just whether you and the other person are matching, right? Whether you're compatible. So that's one. Okay, you might want to consider personality, whether you have a personal fit, whether you like each other, right? Respect each other. That's also very important. Another thing that's mistakes is not viewing failure as something normal. Okay, some people are perfectionists. They like to have perfect results, perfect achievement, perfect. If they set up something they want to achieve, they don't take failure as something good. Nobody likes to fail, right? However, when you are doing something that's beyond your current capability, especially doing like something like a startup, right? Something that's probably beyond your current experience or capability, very likely, most likely, you're going to fail and fail a lot. In fact, failure might be the best way to learn, that you can fail forward, right? If you don't fail, actually, that tells me only one thing, is that you are not aiming high enough. Maybe your goal is too easy, right? Because if it's something you are, let's say, brushing your teeth, right? You're very good at, or riding a bicycle, there's no way you can fail, right? Likely nobody will fail in dressing up or put on their clothes in the morning, right? Because it's so easy. You only fail when you are attempting something difficult beyond your current capability or experience. That's the only way you can fail, right? So actually seeing failure as something normal to the process, something that breaks, something that fails all the time, that's actually, an indication that you are actually challenging yourself. You're doing something unusual. Okay. And there's also I think the YC recommendation that find the partners before you actually do fundraise. Okay, because if you have already gotten some money, the people you get likely are going to be more like employee rather than co-founders. Okay, so these are some of the things, and also you want to understand how you and the other person are handling pressure. Okay, because we all have different ways. Some people hide from pressure. Some people, go directly, try to, reduce. Some people exercise. You also want to know, how your friend, your partner actually handles pressure when it comes. some people want to engage, discuss things out, right? Clarify things, while the other person might like to withdraw. Okay, so if you actually have different approaches to handling pressure and you're not aware of that, that might cause conflict. Okay, so these are some of the common, I think, co-founder mistakes. Okay, so our second question is, oh, and there's one more, is breaking up too late. Okay, sometimes it's not the right person, it's not the right fit, but because, it's hard to clarify, hard to say out. I think there's also culture issues. Maybe in some Western culture, it's easier to just say it and break up. Whereas in Eastern culture, sometimes we value relationship more. Okay, and it's harder for us to, say that this doesn't work anymore. We should go on our separate ways. Okay, so breaking up too late, that's another one. Okay, so which of these co-founder mistakes do you think you're most likely to make? And what adjustment do you think you can make to avoid or to, not repeat this? Okay, if it's something that has, if you don't have experience yet, you can also think about any past experiences where you might have a collaboration with someone, right? A joint project of some sorts. What are some issues that that happen, right? And that maybe in the future you like to avoid the same mistakes. All right. Okay, so is the question clear?
So
All right.
can you please repeat the second part of the question?
Okay, so the question is about which common co-founder mistakes are you most likely to make? And what adjustment can you make to avoid repeating it? Okay, is that clear? So for basically, what are the mistakes you feel you might be, fallen trapped for, and how can we avoid? Okay, Rohini?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
All right, okay. So again, 90 seconds, okay, to write down your answers. All right, so let's start. 90 seconds.
Sir, I would like to avoid the poor communication, sir.
Sorry, we have, all right, 10 more seconds for everyone. Okay, all right. So yeah, all right, time's up. I think Sherry Menthi, you had a question?
Yes, sir.
What was the question?
I actually answered the question, sir. Like, if they have lack of communication, I would like to adjust it, sir. Because in my past collaboration, like teamwork project like that, and
Okay, all right. We will do a share later, okay? Right now we just answer the questions first, okay? And after this, the second part we will do sharing, all right? And actually, the part of the purpose for this exercise is for everyone to have some time to reflect, okay, to reflect about some of these questions. So you have a better understanding about both yourself and also, what actions, things you might want to take in the future. All right. Okay. So let's move on to the next second part. So those are the two YC related questions, okay, for this week. This week, in terms of the mindset, the 10x mindset, we actually have, let me maybe share a bit. Okay, so this is the fourth week. Okay, so I think it's worth emphasizing that to repeat the 10x process that we're learning and practicing, it actually involves different stages. Okay, the first is you want to 10x your goal. Okay, your basically your vision, and this is the reason you want to do this is that it actually becomes a high filter for opportunities for people, right, that you want to engage in. Because if you're just aiming at a small goal, there are many ways to do this. But if you're actually aiming at a much bigger, much higher goal, it may not be difficult, it may not take more time or, more difficult. It's just taking a different path. Likely it's going to require a different pathway, okay, or an approach to actually get there. So to elevate your goal is actually the first, the first most important thing. And the second thing is what's called, focus, eliminating the existing part, the existing 80%. Okay. So if you recall, between 10x and 2x growth, the difference really is that we share this in our webinar, right? If you have watched that. For 10x growth, you actually 80% of what you do is new stuff. Only 20% is existing. Okay, whereas most people are on a 2x trajectory, where you keep most of the stuff the same habits, the same people, the same collaborators, right? The same, right? Only maybe 10 or 20% is something new. Okay, so 10x actually requires you to do 80% new stuff, but that actually requires you to eliminate first. You want to clean up, slash, these things first in order to create the space, the time, the energy, okay, the mental capacity for this. So, that's kind of, and the third step is to focus on the 20% of the things that you decide to keep, but you concentrate and, to develop into even deeper, expertise, deeper work, okay, more higher quality work, okay? And the last, I would say, is probably a sprint/recovery stage, which is, as we're entering the fourth week, this is what, what we might want to do. So that's like a 4-stage process, okay? So today, I guess the third question is that, for you, regarding your next 10x journey, okay, we all have done some 10x growth in the past, right? The fact actually you are in this program, I would argue that's a 10x growth. That's a 10x movement on your part, right? Because you're taking a faith of leap. You have to act on some faith, right? And do a courageous move and commit yourself, your time. There's actually a lot of people. Right now, we are close to, I think, 200 people who have gotten access to the, to the coaching materials. But, you guys are probably the few that actually attended the live mastermind session. All right. Some people may not be able to attend because of time or other commitments, that although they want to attend. But I applaud you that you are showing up, right? So I think already you're taking a bold move in terms of, investing into something, right? So this is something definitely, I would say, you're already doing a 10x jump. But what I like is for you to clarify, what is your next 10x journey? Let's say by the end of this year, okay? And also what strategies do you plan to use to make the impossible happen? All right. So is the question clear? Which is actually, what is your impossible goal for this year? All right, which let's say by the end of this year, that you will grow so much, so big, and that's beyond your current comprehension, and it seems almost impossible to you at this point. Okay, and what strategy? All right, is the question clear?
Yes,
Great.
sir, it's clear.
All right. Okay. All right. I'll give myself as an example. I'm not just coaching you guys. Okay. And I mean, you probably know a sender has the goal to incubate 1,000 impact unicorns in the next 20 years. To get to that goal, actually, my 3-year goal is to get 10 unicorns up and running. And my 1-year goal is to get the first unicorn, out there. Okay. So I'm actually in the process of doing an agri-tech startup, alongside with the coaching, the sender program. So that is my personal impossible goal. Okay, to get the first unicorn up and running by the end of this year. I frankly have no idea how to actually do that. Okay, I don't know the path yet, but I like to challenge myself to set up a goal like that. Okay, so I might want to try various different pathways to actually get there. So, it'll be fun to watch me as well for you guys. And I'm probably going to be updating my progress to you as well, okay, during this journey, the 3 months together that we're together. All right, so my question to you is, what is your impossible goal by the end of this year? All right, so I'll give you 90 seconds to basically answer this, okay? Let's start. All right, 10 more seconds, wrap up. The third question, what's your impossible goal by end of this year? And what's your strategy? All right, okay, so everybody done? Okay, if you want more time, you can speak up, okay. All right, okay. So let's move to the fourth question, okay? Now, this is actually I guess, a deeper dive into the last question, which is, what is your 80% of your current activities that you want to let go of? And which 20% do you want to focus on? Okay, so I guess I'd just like to share this slide again to give you the idea, because this is actually a core framework of what we're doing. Okay, let me just I guess share the slides here. Because we're going to be going back repeatedly to this concept. Okay, which is okay, as it's shown up. Remember that, okay. When we talk about 80-20, you have to have a goal. Okay, you have to be aiming for something. Because there's a famous story in Alice in Wonderland. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, which is Alice was asking, she was walking into an intersection of many paths towards, to different places. And she asked the cat, okay, where should I go? And the cat answers, where do you want to, where do you want to head to, right? And she said that, I don't know. Okay, then the cat answered, then it doesn't matter which path you take. Okay. So, right? So you have to understand that any approach, any strategy, any action, it's only meaningful in relation to your goal. Okay, if you don't have a goal, if you don't have a specific something you like to achieve, then it actually doesn't matter whatever action you take, right? It doesn't really matter because you don't really have an endpoint that you want to move to, right? And this is the 10x versus 2x. This is one of the probably most important idea you want to keep in mind, is that, for most people, or even most of us, most of the time, what we do is on a 2x path, which means that we are keeping 80% of existing and only maybe 20% of new stuff. But to go 10x, it's actually the opposite. You want to keep only 20% of the existing, and this is your best, best stuff, your best ideas, your best approach, your best actions, right? Your best leverage of your talents or time, right? And 80% has to be something new. But this is not just any new thing. It has to be in direct alignment to your elevated 10x goal and vision. In other words, the impossible goals that we ask you to just draw down. Okay? So our last question is about, if viewed from this regard, which 80% of your current activities you want to let go of, and which 20% do you want to focus on to gain deeper and better, to do at a deeper and higher level, right? So, for example, I'll give again myself as an example. Right now, I think even just for doing business or doing startup, we are actually starting a new agri-tech startup that's going to be doing organic farming. Okay, actually in Canada, and in light of that, I think the best 20% for me that I want to leverage on is to have international connections, okay, and expansion, because that's actually part of my superpower, to connect with really high-level people. If you have watched the webinar, you probably know that, I met and talked with like people like Tim Draper, right? The, investor behind Hotmail, Skype, Baidu, SpaceX, Tesla, Tim Draper. Actually, I do exchange email with him, from time to time. And there's another guy, like Jens Strickler, right, the co-founder for Mozilla of Kickstarter, and also some of the other high-level mentors. So there's one more I'm planning to connect with, is Sarah Manna. Okay, she's actually one of the LinkedIn influencer, or close to 500,000 followers on LinkedIn. She's also from India. Okay, she's an Indian entrepreneur, and she has the mission to help 1 million entrepreneurs to reach 1 million in revenue. Okay, that's her project called 1 million by 1 million. So, she's actually someone I like to engage with. Okay, potentially. And maybe she's going to be an important who for Ascendant in terms of our unicorn journey, right? So, okay, the reason why I'm mentioning this is that that's probably the 20% I want to focus on, to reach out and talk to and get mentorship by these people, more, right? Okay. So the fourth question is, which 80% of the current activities do you want to let go of, and which 20% do you want to focus on? All right. So I'll give you again, I like to spend a bit more, maybe 2 minutes on this. Okay, 2 minutes on this question. Okay. All right. So let's start. All right, 10 more seconds. All right. Okay, so time's up. All right, all right, great. I see some answers. Some people are sharing answers in the chat. By the way, I would encourage everyone to share publicly, not privately to me. Okay, because actually sharing this to to more people will help others to understand more about you. Okay, and potentially can help you feedback or leverage, right, or even partner with you. All right. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is, again, to ask you to go into breakout rooms. Okay. We have, I think, about 12 people here. So we will have rooms of 3. Okay. And each one of you can take turns sharing your answers. This is going to be random. And I will let you guys know when it's time to move to the next person. Okay. So what we'll do is everybody will have 2 minutes to share your answers. Okay, and you can share your answers, but also then, and also sometime after you share, the other person can respond, provide some feedback. And I like you to respond in such a way that you make the person who shared feel that he or she has been heard. All right. Okay. So make a brief feedback or comment, maybe even just one sentence or one word, right? But make sure that the other person feel that he or she has been heard. All right. Okay. So yeah. So I guess that's it. So we will have I think let's okay. I just created some new breakout rooms and invite everyone to join. All right. So it's in each room will have 3 person. If you are done early or there's nobody talking there, you can jump back to the main room where we can have a main room discussion. All right, so let's start. So 2 minutes each for each person. Yeah, please join the room. All right, please, if you're still in the main room, please join the breakout. All right, I think we have Deepak and Ritish. You should be in the 4th breakout room. Please join. All right. For those in the main room, okay, for whatever reason, okay, if anyone would like to share, feel free to raise your hand as well. Okay, all right. So anyone here would like to share your answers? Please, raise your hand or unmute yourself. All right, again, I like to emphasize this is interactive, and you are going to get the best learning and best stuff if you share and participate. All right. If you feel too shy or whatever reason, you can type as well. Okay, but make sure that everybody can see it. Okay, all right. So I was asking anyone in the main room would like to share. All right, Rohini, all right, go ahead. So you can share answers. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I think I would like to start from the bottom, 4th question.
Okay.
So, what is your 80% of current activities you want to let go and 20% you want to focus on? So, I want to let go of activities that don't align with my long-term goals, like overthinking minor details, spending too much time on low priority tasks, or even unnecessary multitasking. So instead of that, I want to focus on the 20% that truly matters, which is building my startup and developing key skills and working on meaningful projects that align with my vision for the future. So the third question, what is your possible goal by the end of this year and what strategy? Okay, so my goal by the end of this year is to lay the foundation of my own company, for my own company. So focusing on creating a mental health platform for the students. So for that, my strategy includes conducting in-depth market research to understand the user needs, building a MVP, and gathering feedback to refine it. And also, I'll also network with mentors and industry professionals to gain insights and also to secure resources, ensuring a perfect, strong start for my venture. So, second question:
which of these co-founder mistakes do you think you might do, and what adjustment you might make in the future to avoid? So one of the mistakes I actually did make before in the past is taking on too much myself instead of delegating tasks, which slow down the whole progress. So I'm slowly starting to implement it right now, and I'll do it in the future too. So I'll focus on trusting others with responsibilities and building a really good collaborative team, a dynamic team, to ensure everything runs smoothly and efficiently. So this is what I'm currently working on right now. And the first question: do you already have a co-founder or a business partner, and what qualities do you value the most? So yes, sir, I do have a co-founder, and that is my sister. So she's currently working right now in MNCs. She has like a vast knowledge on everything, and she's been incredibly supportive and very adaptable throughout this whole process. And what I value the most in her ability is the ability to provide honest feedback, and her willingness to adapt to the changing needs of my project, my startup. So in the early stages, her insights into the whole user experiences, my idea, and the knack for identifying the potential challenges have been incredibly very helpful. This is my take on all the answers, sir.
Okay, nice, excellent. So I'd like to invite others to provide feedback or question to Rohini. Okay, and I'd like to explain that this is our process, which is called Mastermind, which means it's not just I'm teaching or I'm sharing, okay, or maybe Rohini is sharing. It's actually about, we are trying to create a bigger brain, so to speak, okay? And this will only happen if we try to feedback, listen and also feedback to one another, okay? And, it's called the mastermind principle. When we have the same goal and, we do here, we want to potentially move more closer to entrepreneurship and even a unicorn, right? Or to learn the concepts, the mindset of 10x. So with this, we can, by sharing and asking each other questions, that actually creates a bigger and better brain. So it's called a mastermind. So anyone would like to feedback for what Rohini just shared, or maybe ask her questions? You can raise your hand. All right, Kosik. Go ahead, Kosik. Is that how to pronounce your name? Kosik? All right, yeah, go ahead. If you have anything to feedback or to ask. Kosik. All right, I think we're not hearing you, okay? It could be some network connection. Again, try to get a better internet connection, because we are doing some shares, right? And at least the voice should pass through. All right, anyone else would like to share or to provide feedback to Rohini? Okay, all right. I'll provide some feedback then, all right? So Rohini, I think it's great that you have identified the 20% that I think it's wonderful. You already have a, great collaborator, a co-founder, working alongside. One thing you also mentioned is that the 20% you want to focus, right, is build up your startup and key skills. And also you like to drop the 80% you like to remove is some of the low productivity stuff, right? Can you maybe be more specific? I'm curious, what are the 80% stuff you're talking about? And what skills are you thinking about developing?
When I first started, I used to worry about even small, minute parts, minute details. But sometimes it's very important to let go of them and focus on what is actually important, the highest, most important task in the list. So I think I'm very I want to make sure everything is perfect, each and every aspect. But sometimes that's kind of hard right now when you're multitasking. You have your academics, you have everything going on. So I what I'm planning to do right now, and what I'm adapting into my everyday life, is to just focus on the most important task, which gonna get you the more big gain. So right now, I am very, I overthink a lot, so that has very bad consequences. So I really want to put a stop to it, and I'm trying to do that.
Okay, okay, all right. So that's the 80% you want to let go, right? And
Yes.
what's the 20% you want to develop it at deeper level? I mean, what are the core skills you're talking about?
As I'm building my own startup right now, developing the key skills, and working, and also I'm in my second year right now, second undergrad second year. So next year we'll be sitting for the placements, and of course, um, the whole training thing that's going on right now. I'm making sure that my resume is very perfect. So alongside, I really want to work on good meaningful projects, get a good internship, learn new skills, and make sure that everything in the end aligns with my vision for the future.
All right, all right. Okay, I see. Okay. So you talk about having a good placement, right? And also get, I guess, make sure your resume works, right? Okay. So I guess the one thing, oh, okay, and regarding your 1 year impossible, can you maybe share with us? I'm kind of curious, what was the original goal? And compare with the currently impossible goal. How have you made the goal impossible, quote unquote? I mean, what aspect have you elevated or maybe 10x?
Okay, so uh, I just have a doubt, sir, regarding your question. When you mean my original goal, maybe are you talking about something back, back in the past, what I actually wanted to become?
Yes, or before you take the coaching, right? Before you join
Hmm.
our program, you probably had a goal, right? I
Uh,
mean, before you join, but
yes.
hopefully your goal has been elevated. Okay, that's my hope. So I just like to know what was before and what's now. What's the current one that becomes the impossible goal?
Uh, Actually, it's from past, maybe I think maybe from past 1 year, I've been wanting to start my own startup. I'm sure this is not the answer that you're looking for, but yeah, this is been mine. And just the thing is, I don't have a very good mentorship right now here, because I live in a very small scale city, where this whole entrepreneurship, just startup working, scaling startups is not something that everybody knows about it, heard about it. So I've been looking for very platforms where I can just learn more, because when I want to start, when I want to bring my idea into the market, I want it to be perfect. I don't want to I don't even want to make like a single mistake. But yeah, that's how you learn. But I've been looking for platforms where I can learn, where I can just upscale all the knowledge that I have right now. So this has been really great. And even I'm sure by the end of 3 months, by the end of this internship, I'll be very my whole body will be like fortune with all the knowledge and all the information that I'm going to learn. And so you should definitely ask me this question after the course of this internship, to see if there's going to be any change in my goal. Definitely not going to be, but maybe adding something new. So yeah, this is
Okay,
currently.
okay, excellent, excellent. So it seems like before you joined, you already had the idea of looking for something like this, right?
Yeah,
And also start up your own startup by the end of 1 year, right? That was your original goal, right?
yes.
All right. So my question is, what is your quote unquote impossible goal now? You know, at the end of 1 year? For example, what would be a 10x version to your original goal?
So your voice is actually breaking right now.
Oh, sorry. My question was, now you have attended our program, right? So what is your 10x version, right, of the goal now that is impossible to you? Did you get my question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So what would you say is your quote unquote impossible goal right now?
mm, impossible.
Or,
I
or, or maybe starting a startup is already seems like impossible to you at this point.
it's not impossible, but I can get it done. Like I just need a few things right now. Maybe like a couple of months and year or two. But I don't want to call it impossible. I'm sorry, sir.
Okay,
But
all right.
that's definitely gonna happen.
Okay, yes. Okay, so let me ask you this. How would you like 10x that goal? It doesn't have to necessarily be in quantity. It can be quality wise as well. Okay. But if you were to 10x your goal, let's say by the end of this year, right? What would that look like now for you?
Okay. Okay, so my 10x version of my goal is to definitely be to build a very globally recognized and mental health platform, but that not only helps millions of students, but also transforms how this whole mental health support is integrated into the current education system uh, throughout the worldwide. So right now, I I know this might when you listen to this, it's for a few people this might be something impossible because of the limited resources, reach, and experience that people might have. But this is something that can be done with just the right focus. So that's why I don't want to quote it impossible.
Okay. That's great. That's great. All right. Well, for some people might believe that nothing is impossible, right? Okay, so let me clarify about when I use the term impossible. It simply means that right now you may not know the path, right? You may not know how to do it. Okay, it may be way beyond your current capability or experience. Okay, so that it seems to appear as impossible, right? Okay, but obviously we know if it doesn't defy physics, a lot of things are actually possible. Okay, but one key thing I like to emphasize is the purpose of setting up your goal higher, right? To make it higher, is actually so that you can change your strategy. You can be forced to change how you're approaching things, how you're doing things. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because remember, the 2x trajectory means that we're keeping 80% of what we're doing. Okay, so part of the reason why we asked you to set up a 10x impossible goal is because then your eyes, your attention will be aiming for something very different. Okay, I'm saying this not just to you, but to everybody here as well. Okay, you want to first set up a quote unquote impossible goal because then your attention will be shifted to something different and you might decide to take a different path, a different strategy than your original one. Okay, so if you're still doing the same thing, for example, if previously your approach is, I want to study hard, I want to develop skill, I want to, just learn, right? That might be your approach, right? But if you are really embracing the idea of impossible goal, the effect of that you should change how you're doing things. All right. So that's one criteria to judge if your goal has become impossible or elevated or 10x enough. Is that changing how you're actually doing or approaching things? Okay, Rohini, does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, all right. So try to think about along those lines. Okay. try to see what, and also try to make your goal concrete, right? Building a startup, starting a startup may not be as hard, may not be too hard, right? Anybody spend some money, maybe you can register a company, right? I mean, I don't know how much it costs in India, right?
Yeah.
But with some effort, you can register a company, right? Anybody can do that. But I guess the key is what are you actually going to do, or how, let's say, what revenue or what size are you planning to grow your startup into, right? You talk about global, you talk about mental health, right? What service is it offering? How many people is it serving, right? Is it serving 1,000, 10,000, or 1 million, right? Are you getting, 100K in revenue or $1 million in revenue, right? Those are very specific metric or measure that, try to be as specific, as numeric as possible, because then your brain will start to think ways to actually make it happen. Okay, so that's another thing I encourage you to do. Now, the last feedback I like to say is, you mentioned about a keyword called multitask. Okay, I think a lot of us, especially today's, in the mobile phone, and you guys are all young, right? In university level, you're probably grown up with mobile phone, right? So a lot of distraction, a lot of, you're probably used to doing multiple things at once. However, in order to do truly great works, it's actually important to go into what's called a flow moment. Okay, which means that you're totally engaged and immerse yourself into the task at hand. And usually that requires very dedicated focus. Okay, now, sorry, let me clarify a bit. It's not to say you cannot do two things at once or even three things at once. For example, like I would walk and, maybe do some house chores, washing dishes while listening to audiobook. Okay, we can definitely do more than one thing at once, but it has to be, the key here is you cannot multi-focus. Okay, probably like riding bicycle, walking, it has become automated, right? So I can listen or think something else. Try not to do, switch your focus. You want to be single focus, because that's oftentimes how you can actually get into what's called a flow state. Okay, so I guess that's just one more feedback about multitasking. Okay, and don't try to, do too many things at once, thinking that it's more productive. It's actually not. Okay, having very dedicated focus on one thing and do one thing really, really well, deep, higher quality, that actually counts more than, try to accomplish multiple things at once. All right, so that's my last feedback. All right, so hope this helps. Okay.
Yes,
All
sir,
right.
thank you. Definitely take all your inputs and would like to start away right now itself. Thank you, sir. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Okay,
That's
all
been
right.
very
So, all right. Yeah, you're welcome. And I hope this is not just for Rohini, but can be useful to, everyone here. All right. So, is there anyone else who would like to share your answers? And maybe we can, get some feedback to it. Okay, remember this is a rare chance to, yeah, don't waste it. All right. Okay, and don't be shy. Okay, don't be shy. There's no need to be shy if you are really trying to build up a startup and become an entrepreneur. You do have to communicate and talk and sell, right, at many different levels, to clients, to partners, to investors, so that's how you want to do. All right. Okay. All right, so if nobody wants to share, then let me move to the next part of explaining about what we're going to do this week, as a potential service or I guess something helpful. Let me share my screen, which is you guys might have done the assignments, okay? But we have just released, we are copying the, can you see my screen now? Can everyone see my screen? Hello? I'd just like to make sure that you can see my screen.
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, all right, okay. So this is actually a very similar to the assignment you might have done. But the purpose of this, and you can reuse the answers as well if you like, okay? But the purpose of this is to get yourself answer a few questions so that you can actually discover each other, okay? And potentially find other partners, co-founders, or collaborators that's currently in our, in our coaching course internship, okay? These will be finding other people. And the way we're going to do this is, I'm just going to show an example of how this has been done. So we will be sharing this form, okay? And I will fill up this form just as an example, you know. Let's say I'm a participant, right? So thank you for joining. So fill in results, do the two assessments I assume many of you have already done, okay? So obviously, first off, fill out the email, okay? So let me just fill out, I guess, the email here of my assistant. Okay, so my answer is this, and this is my WhatsApp number. By the way, one more thing is that some of you have private messaged me on WhatsApp. As a role, okay, I don't respond in general. Okay, I try to do things within the group because if I try to respond to, individually, it's probably going to not be very effective. So try to ask us questions on the public channel. Okay. Obviously, unless you are a good participant, like Rohini, right? So, I mean, that's a special privilege. If you are engaged, right, you are asking questions, sharing during the live coaching call, and you like to ask additional questions, through WhatsApp, then okay, feel free, all right? But I will not add you back unless I know you from the live coaching call. All right. So this is something I encourage you to do. All right, LinkedIn profile. This is not required. Okay. Like this is my LinkedIn profile. However, this is something I highly recommend you build up one if you don't have one already. Okay, so this is my LinkedIn. Because LinkedIn, I think for many of you, it's also useful, even if you're just still a student, right? Because LinkedIn actually provides a track record of your resume in terms of your professional career, your education, and whatever else, right? So like, if you look at my LinkedIn profile, you can probably see quite a few things, right? So, all right, it's going to take some time to load. I'm just simply, copying my LinkedIn profile here. All right. And by the way, if any one of you guys, this is an invitation. If you're in the program, you'd like to connect with me on LinkedIn, feel free to send invites. Okay. So this is the two questions. These are actually called the Dan Sullivan question because Dan Sullivan himself invented these questions. Now, don't be fooled by the simplicity of the questions. Okay. These are actually very deep and thoughtful questions. If you try to spend time to answer them well, it's actually going to help you to get both clarity and also insights about how you can set and achieve your goals. All right. So for me, okay, let me just briefly answer. For me, professionally, is 10 uniforms. Also, this is actually my impossible goal, $10 billion, $10 billion assets under management. Again, frankly, I don't yet have the idea how to do that. Okay. And whole family, living in PEI Canada, immigrating there. All right. Actually, that would probably be a personal goal. Okay. So that would be like the professional and personal goal for me to feel happy about my progress. Now, specifically, what dangers you have now to eliminate, opportunities want to capture, and what strengths want to maximize. So I would say my danger is that not focus on my core unique ability. Okay. So this is actually become a 3-person unicorn expert. Okay, and be seen as such. Okay, so that is the danger, that I'm not focusing on this. The opportunity obviously is if I do that, I will likely gain unicorn partners. And right now, I'm really looking forward to getting 1,000. Actually, the order might be like this. 1,000 participants in Ascender Create Unicorn programs. Okay, and that might lead to some unicorn partners. That might lead to a $50 million ICO raise. Okay, and that's going to lead to the first unicorn by 2025, which is end of this year. All right, so that's the opportunity I like to capture in the series. What is my strength? I would say connect powerfully. Okay, that's one. And also to coach, I think I would say connect and coach powerfully. Okay. So actually I have 3 things, and also create the compelling vision. Okay, create vision, connect, impact, and coach teams. Those are what I identify as my core strength or skill. Now, as a co-founder, I'd be happy to contribute. We all know that okay, so the first 2 things, I like to say one or thing about these 2 things. The first part is what I'm happy to contribute, which is probably my own skill set or something I'm great at. And the second part is what I'm looking for, in a co-founder for the other person to contribute. Okay, so and the first 2 actually is what YC emphasize a lot. 80–90% of the time when you're doing a business, you want to talk to users and improve your product. Everything else, fundraising, networking, go to social events, building flashy press conferences, okay, advertise. Those are actually, things you should not spend most of your attention on or energy on. You should talk to user and build your products, okay, and iterate. That should spend 80 or 90% time on that. And we know for each project, there's oftentimes, contributing money or time or ideas to networks. Okay. So for example, for me, probably, talk to users, right? Doing business development. And also, I'm an idea person. Okay. And also a vision guy. So these are the 2 things I probably would be happiest to contribute within a teamwork environment. What I'm looking for, obviously, complementary to mine, that would be like building product, capital money, and time expertise. Okay, so these are, maybe they will overlap, maybe they may not. Okay, so yeah, so that's me. My genius type, hopefully you have already done there are 4 types of genius: idea, people, senses, or system smart. You can read the explanations, I think, on Roger Hamilton's site. He has a great Genius U program. And for my visionary score, actually, I cheated a little. This is actually my score. So you probably have to dig up your own one, right? And upload screenshot just as a proof. Okay, so this is mine, and I like to send the copy to me. So I can submit. Okay, so after I submit this, oh, I have to upload. Okay, all right. All right, let me just upload something. This is actually required. This is to make sure that the it's genuine. All right, it's not bogus. So all right, let me just upload something. Okay, all right. So send. And after you complete this, what happens is we actually will share the link to you. Okay, you can bookmark this to find other people. The reason is that we're expecting as people learn about this, more people will start to fill up their answers, right? So this actually will become available to anyone who has filled the form. Okay, now maybe I'll add one more field, but I like to ask you to keep this private in the sense that, you know, this is only for networking purpose within Ascender, the program. All right. So I think likely what I'll do is, yeah, probably adjust a bit of the length of this so it doesn't, yeah, it doesn't go too much, right? But anyway, so you can see, right? So probably just 100. Okay. So you can see my answers here, right? And you can also try to reach out if you find me being attractive. Okay, so this is just an example, and hopefully many of you will fill up, you know, here. And then you can use this to find people and try to connect with them and maybe have a chat, right? Of what you like to do. And one hint is that these two fields are probably sharing insights to the kind of startup, to kind of trajectory they are building towards, the interest level, right, of the other person. So you can find maybe better matches, right, to whatever projects you're building. All right. So is there any questions so far regarding the form, the process? You can raise your hand or type into the chat.
Nothing, sir. It's clear.
Okay, okay, all right. But do you think this is helpful? Are you excited?
Yes, sir. It's really great opportunity for us to find like-minded people, something to make new friends. Such a good networking opportunity, to be honest.
Right, right. All right, great, great. All right. Yeah, these questions are specifically crafted and picked, okay? So you can have a much better understanding of the other person before you actually maybe have a Zoom chat or maybe a WhatsApp or voice call, okay? So feel free to connect in private, okay, by yourself, all right? So to close up today, again, I have shared in the chat room our feedback form. And I'd like to ask everyone to take 1 minute to fill this. Again, as usual, what I actually ask is, what's the one thing you learned, a takeaway from today? What's the most important takeaway? And also one action you'd like to take afterwards. An immediate action, okay, right after this. All right. Remember, so 1 minute for everyone. All right. So please click on the form and fill it for 1 minute. All right, let's start. What's the one biggest takeaway and one action? All right, 10 more seconds. Okay, all right. So again, I'd like to invite a few shares if okay. Yeah, anyone would like to share what's your biggest takeaway and action, next section? Feel free to raise hand or unmute. Okay, I think you guys are maybe shy. Okay, Janani, would you like to share? Okay, you can type in the chat as well if you like. Okay, Rohini, all right, go ahead.
I would like to like summarize something very simple, sir. So like learning gain, definitely big visions need small bold steps today. That's it. I don't want to like exaggerate it, something small. And action forward. I will I want to make decisions my future self would be proud of.
Okay, all right. Okay, so sorry, I didn't quite catch what's the takeaway for today for you?
So your voice is breaking again. Can
Oh,
you
sorry. I was asking, what was your takeaway? What was your biggest takeaway for today?
My takeaway is to just think big, act bold, and also to align every step with the future that I want. That's my takeaway.
Okay, think big and also align steps. All right, great. All right. So thanks for sharing. Anyone else would like to share? What's your biggest takeaway and action forward? All right, Ratish, would you like to share? Or Shimathi? I think you unmute yourself sometime today. All right, okay. So yeah, again, definitely encourage you to also to share in the in the group as well. Okay, in the WhatsApp group if you can. And if you have any questions, okay, regarding this, we might put up a question form, okay, for you guys to fill in before the next coaching. This is something probably we can have a more structured way if you have any questions regarding what you're learning now, regarding the program, or maybe your current STAR project, okay, or any questions in general, all right? Okay, so again, appreciate it and thank you for participating. One last thing I'd like to emphasize is that when you're learning and doing on a 10x trajectory, each week potentially can have more progress than maybe 1 month in the past. Okay. And each day you might make more progress than in the past 1 week or even 1 month. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. I think someone has all right, sure, maybe. Okay. First time joining and takeaway is to be bold enough and confident and try to do something big in the future. All right. Thanks. That's certainly it's good. Okay. So I would encourage you to be more specific as well. Okay. What specific things you'd like to achieve? Let's say 1 year, 1 month, 1 week, and the next day. Okay. That's something you can, always constantly, to ask. So yeah, so basically, although we are only meeting every once a week, do remember if you keep the 10x principle in mind and actually apply that, you can potentially achieve more in the next week than maybe all these several weeks combined in the past several weeks. Okay, even several months. Okay, it's entirely possible. All right, so keep that in mind. And I look forward to hearing your progress, okay, and your 10x results next week. All right, so take care and I'll see you next time then. All right, okay, have a 10x week ahead. All right, take care. Yeah, bye-bye.